New moon energy, and especially when combined with solar eclipse energy, is awesome for making big, positive life changes. It's awesome for taking huge leaps, not only in your own personal evolution, but also your life circumstance can be greatly upgraded at this time. Hey, what's going on, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about this upcoming new moon and solar eclipse happening on April 30th, 2022. Number 1, little things feeling like a lot, like a big deal. During eclipses especially, it's very, very common to feel energetically and emotionally very sensitive, very overly perceptive. And sometimes little things, perhaps as an example, maybe a minor disagreement with a loved one or a friend, it can make you feel very intense inside, like the whole world is ending. And it can be kind of inconvenient and a little bit, you have to be mindful of it, but it's common. It's common, and the blessing in disguise here is because you're more sensitive, you're also more self-aware. Because most human beings, us even included, the light worker folks, we're not that sensitive on the grand scheme of things. Meaning there's a lot going on beneath the surface of our psyche that we are oblivious to. And those things, those blockages, those unresolved issues, the karma, etc., all within our consciousness is still affecting us, usually to a negative degree. So on one hand, you might feel a little bit, hypersensitive and maybe a little bit tired and just out of sync with your normal flow of things. But parallel to that, and because of that hypersensitivity, when directed inward, it can result in a lot of profound, life-changing epiphanies, healings, releases. There's a profound potential to really make some really big changes in yourself, in your life, and get to learn about yourself, get to know yourself on a much deeper, more accurate level. Number 2, it's a great time to start or to do something you've been meaning to do. A dream that maybe you've been sort of entertaining for some time. For that dream to become a reality, there comes a moment in your life where you make the choice to do it, to commit to it, to try, to start. And it's okay if it's taken you some time to get on board with whatever that thing may be. For example, years ago, one of my dreams was, and this is something I thought about and actually visualized about a lot for a few years, it was to move from Michigan to San Diego. I don't know why, man, I just wanted to move to San Diego. To me, it just resonated so much. I used to watch like real estate videos and just sort of like watch YouTube videos about San Diego, and I would feel like that is my place, man. That is my home. I gotta get there. But it's nice to dream about. It's nice to watch a YouTube video about such things. But when it came time to actually like considering the effects that I was going to have in my existing reality, it was quite stressful. Because that really, to move to San Diego from Michigan implied a lot. It implied saying goodbye to everything that was familiar, my friends, my family, my job. It implied selling my home. It implied figuring out what am I going to do when I get there. So because of all this, and even though that dream resonated for so long, it took me a while to become emotionally prepared to actually do it. And eclipse energy, new moon energy, is a great time to go, to seize the day and to start. So for me at the time, a pivotal moment for me, again, after years of contemplation and dreaming and thinking, there came a time where we called our friend who was a real estate agent and said, hey, what's up? we're ready to sell our house. Now it was going down. Number 3, I wrote down shifting as you go. It's great to take action. I say it so easily, like as if it's this simple thing. And in a sense, it is a simple act, but not only does it make your dreams all of a sudden become more real and sometimes even scary, but what I found when I've, in a sense, committed to something, especially when it pertained to a dream of mine, like a big deal, like I mentioned before, right away almost, right shortly after, at the very least, I go through a lot of personal shifts. So I wrote down, I said, shifting as you go, meaning you can sort of commit to something, and that's fantastic. But at least for me, what I've learned again is like, usually that results in an acceleration of my own personal development, of my own healing, of life showing me all the different unconscious patterns, beliefs, etc. within myself, within my consciousness that are not a fit for where I've decided to go. And it can feel sometimes kind of like a mini dark night of the soul, where you're feeling like you're going through all these different like awakening symptoms, and you're losing sleep, you're feeling like a lot of stuff is coming up for you, you're getting triggered, emotionally triggered quite easily through life. Life will face you with these sort of challenges, all of which is helpful, all of which is necessary for you to become a vibrational match for where you now are intending on going. But I used to really, I don't know, I would say I resist this. But I've come now to appreciate it, my friends. I've come to appreciate this blessing of being able to transform myself as I make my way towards my dreams. This next one I wrote down, a new reality. All of this I have been talking about, it sounds tough. It sounds like, man, Vic, I can see the benefits of chasing my dreams, but this sounds like it's going to be a difficult road. And sometimes it is, depending on how you look at it. It can be challenging. It can be a lot of growth at one time, a lot of unfamiliarity, a lot of jumping into the unknown, a lot of leaps of faith, all of that. But there's a worthwhile benefit. There's a reason something inside of you is resonating with something out there that you want to go and pursue. It's because there's a part of you deeper than your mind, deeper than your emotions, within your soul, that you know. It's like you know in going in this direction, you're going to become more of your true self. You're going to become more whole. And that's fantastic. But also, as you take these big leaps like this, that can, again, really be accelerated and put into physicality because of the eclipse. As you do it, you usually, in a short time, find yourself in kind of a new reality. I don't mean the fifth dimension and things like that. I mean like a completely different life circumstance. Like for me, I left from Michigan with a particular job, with a particular, friendship circle and just, location and environment. And it was a strenuous jump to San Diego, a lot of inner shifts, as I mentioned, but when I got there, there was more sun, the weather was nice, the people were different, my career had shifted, I was now a full-time YouTuber and spiritual coach. What I did with my days was completely night and day. I would wake up and I would go to the beach every day and I'd film videos. I'd go home to we were living in an RV at the time, and I'd play with the kids at like noon. And my day-to-day, my reality in a sense was completely different. Not different like in a bad way, different in better, improved, expanded, more preferable in all ways. In ways I couldn't have even anticipated. It was like I jumped into a higher octave of my human experience that was reflected in every single little detail of my reality. It was more me. It resonated more. There was more ease, more flow, more joy, more peace, and a much more favorable, on all levels, life circumstance. And that's the potential. And that's the potential, my friends. And understand, sometimes embarking on these journeys, we can put that off because we don't know exactly how it's going to unfold. But what I've learned is that when you go for something that really is authentic to you, then it's not like you don't have to consider how at all, but there's a partnership. It's like you get to go forward and do your best and know that there will be inner guidance that comes into play when you need it. There will be synchronicity. There will be, the path will unfold in a way that you can handle and manage and succeed. And it's kind of like a partnership with you and with spirit. But nobody can make that phone call to the real estate agent for you. Nobody can lease that apartment in San Diego for you. Nobody can tell your boss that, you know what, it's time for me to move on. Nobody can do these things for you. You have to initiate the process. And maybe you weren't ready for quite a while. But I would say it's a good time during this eclipse and new moon energy in particular to at the very least revisit that dream. And you might discover that you're more ready than you think. And maybe you realize, it's okay if I just go forward and do my best. Maybe I don't have to be perfect. I remember a long time ago, not that long ago, when I was trying to write a book. And I was comparing myself to very, very successful, well-established authors. And I'd write something, and I'd think it was pretty good. And then I'd like read one of my books by, or Ryan Holiday or Robert Greene, some of my favorite authors who are, like, in my opinion, very good. And I'd think, man, it would make me feel so horrible about my work. It would make me feel like this sucks. I might as well not even try. But the reality is, those guys had to work their way up the ladder, and it just takes time. And what I've learned now is to be more realistic with my expectations and say, if I'm just starting something new, I'm probably going to make some mistakes. I can accurately predict that over time I will improve, and that if I just don't give up and try my best, that someday I might be pretty damn good and it might succeed. So I've learned to kind of sort of go into things with that that mentality. And that actually leads me into number 5, my friends. It's a very, very important time to support yourself, to give yourself love and support. Now, most of us, if we're honest, we do the exact opposite. As going back to my example, I'm trying to write this book. It's a stretch for me emotionally. It's a real embarking into like a new domain, and it was stressful, and I had all my doubts and stuff coming up. And instead of supporting myself, what was I doing? I was saying, you suck because you're not as good as these guys over here. I had this sort of like ridiculous, distorted, sort of highly negative way of viewing and relating with my courageous self, trying to do something cool and pure, like write a book. And it's like, we can't do that to ourselves. It's like, I wish, going back, I had more self-love. I wish I had the awareness to really understand that these big leaps of faith that our spiritual awakening tends to ask of us time and time and time and time again, that stretches us way outside of our comfort zone and norm. It's not easy on the inner child. There's a little part of us, a little Victor, that says, yeah, I understand. It could be cool in San Diego. It could be cool to write a book. I agree. It does resonate. But the reality is what I'm feeling is a lot of fear because it's a lot. I feel very scared. I feel very nervous. And what do? You suck. You should be better. No. You need to say, okay, little Vic, I got you, buddy. All I ask of you, do your best, and I'm always here. Anyway, without going on to some sort of like self-dialogue tangent here, it's an important time to do that, my friend, because these eclipses, if you're really, taking advantage of them, usually, at least in my life, they can result in big changes, big positive changes, albeit through sometimes a confusing and stressful journey, big positive changes, but they're not easy on the inner child. And man, and sometimes our inner child isn't supported by people in our life. It's definitely not supported or encouraged by like society. We've been almost programmed to berate ourselves. So it's like we gotta wake up and say, if no one's gonna support me, I will take on that task. I will support myself. And man, Once you start to do that, you'll realize how much faster that little inner child is willing to go. It's like, all I needed was you to hold my hand. So it's time to hold your own hand, my friend. Time to really give yourself some love and just really give yourself a pat on the back for the work you've already done that has brought you to this moment. How much have you accomplished up until this moment? Reflect on that. I'm proud of little Victor, and you should be proud of little you as well. And I'm telling you, if you can do that, you can like almost amplify and accelerate what already is an acceleration of positive change. You can just like, boom, just zip into this new reality when you take your time and show yourself some love.